Good morning, viewers. Allow us to interrupt your regular broadcast. We have a very good reason. This morning, as I came to work, I happened upon a young man. The young man was dressed in sports gear, and as he ran past me in Boltesque speed, I also noted he had an outstanding Kenyan bracelet. I thought to myself, that must be a big star training for a race. I was really impressed. At the same spot, there was also a man taking notes as he looked at his watch. His coach, I concluded. My thoughts were soon dashed when I realized the young man was running to catch a bus and almost got knocked down by a motorcycle. Moral of the story is, not every man standing at a bus stop, looking at his watch and taking note is a coach. He was actually a supervisor of a bus company. And second and most important lesson, not every Kenyan running is an athlete. The reason we interrupt your regular viewing. Athletics, specifically Kenya's forte, long distance running. We'll reveal the details in the next 1 hour, but first we have journalists in Eldoret Town, Kaptagat, Nairobi, Kampala and Addis Ababa to take us there. And of course, our very own Joshua Makori will be also driving this agenda. And another very important element of this entire process is our partner, and that is ABSA. Will also be giving us details on what we can go ahead and say. So before I get into anything, let me just take you down to Joshua Makori, who will be telling us what we can expect in this 1 hour. Joshua.
Watson Karuma, umenena ndivyo kwa sababu mimi ndege yangu kibinafsi imetua hapa London ndogo orofa ya 5 Nation Center kwa heshima kubwa ya kufanikisha uzinduzi mkubwa kabisa wa kuandaa mashindano ya London Marathon makala ya 40. Uzinduzi wake unafanyika hapa kwa sababu NTV itakuwa inapeperusha moja kwa moja tena mbashara tena Kenya kutoka barabara za jiji la London, ikiwa kwamba NTV tarehe 4 macho yote ni mbele ya kiwanja yako, ukiwa mtaa wako, ukiwa popote pale ulipo, na runinga huenda zikaweka katika mitaa mingine, ikiwa ni jiji kuu la mabingwa maeneo ya Eldoret, na hapa jijini Nairobi kuna runinga kadhaa katika mji mkuu wa Nairobi, Kenya. Kwa hiyo wananchi ni kuangalia moja kwa moja NTV ambayo itakuwa inaweka kitu angani moja kwa moja makala ya 40, makala ambayo kiukweli yatakuwa na shuhudia ushindani mkali kati ya mshikilizi wa rekodi ya dunia ya marathon ulimwenguni. Huyu ni Eliud Kipchoge ambaye aliwahi kukimbia kule katika mji wa Berlin akitumia muda wa saa 2 dakika zake moja ikiwa na sekunde 39, lakini hiyo rekodi ilikuwa nusura tu ivunjwe na yule Mwethiopia Kenenisa Bekele, alikuwa ameikosa tu kwa sekunde 2 tu, lakini safari hii itakuwa ni mbio tu ambayo kiukweli ushindani utakuwa hali ya juu. Alafu pia upande wa kinadada pia mshikilizi wa rekodi ya ulimwengu, yani rekodi tu ziko pale nyingi na zote zinatoka katika taifa la Kenya. Bridget Kosgei, rekodi yake ya muda wa saa 2 dakika 14 na sekunde 4, atakuwa bado yuko kule, labda huenda akaivunja yeye binafsi, lakini pia kule kuna ushindani mwingine kutoka kwa bingwa dunia ambaye ni Ruth Chepngetich sambamba na Pocket Rocket. Huyu tayari alikwisha kuachia ngazi ya kukimbia mashindano ya mbio za mita 10,000 na 5,000. Safari hii anakimbia katika mashindano ya marathon, na mwaka 2019 aliwahi kumaliza katika nafasi ya 2 nyuma ya Bridget Kosgei. Kwa hiyo hapa pia katika hii London ndogo nitakuwa nasema na muhariri mkuu wa kitengo cha michezo hapa Nation Media Group Elias Makori, sambamba na mkuu wa idara ya broadcasting idara ya utangazaji Monica Ndongo. Na wana kwa umbali wanapasha misuli moto kwa heshima kubwa ya kuja kufanikisha mahojiano hapa katika London ndogo, na ni starehe kubwa mimi nikiwa hapa London ndogo. Nitakuwa naendesha shughuli nzima, pia keki itakuwa inakatwa mbele ya umma sababu ni London Marathon, ni mashindano makubwa, makala ya 40 kwa mara ya kwanza yanafanyika bila wale wanariadha kusindikiza. Sampuli ya Joshua Makori hawaendei ushindi, lakini kwa sababu ya janga la homa ya corona, haya mashindano yalikuwa yafanyike tarehe 26 Aprili ikiwa ni Jumapili, lakini hayakufanyika kwa sababu ya janga la homa ya corona, yakasukuma mbele, yakaahirishwa hadi Jumapili ya tarehe 4 ikiwa ni mwezi ujao, mwezi wa Oktoba. Kumbuka itakuwa yani ni historia kubwa. Ifikirie hivi kwamba NTV ikuletee moja kwa moja mashindano ya mabara kutoka uwanja wa taifa wa Nyayo, ikiwa ni Jumamosi tarehe 3, alafu Jumapili Sasa ndo London Marathon, mashindano makubwa ya ulimwengu haya ambayo kiukweli utakuwa unayapata hapa NTV. NTV huwa katika upande wa spoti haibahatishi, na kuibia siri haibahatishi. Sisi huwa tunafanikisha, alafu majirani wanaamua kuiga, na wakiiga ndo starehe, ndo unajua unafanya kitu, au sio? Watson Karuma, sijui unafanyaje upande wa pili, manake huko juu yangu kwa maana ya orofa ya 6, alafu mimi orofa ya 5, lakini usisahau kwamba mimi niko London ndogo, Watson.
Thank you very much. Of course, London Dogo is our sports desk area, and what I picked out from that is that we have cake. Guys, we have to wrap this up, have to have some cake. But before we have some cake, and of course, everything that Makori says, the 40th edition of the London Marathon, we have only elite athletes taking part. It will be a looped course, not your regular London Marathon course. We would have the thousands and thousands of participants that take to the streets of London. And just before we go to the journalists across the world, in fact, because we have Ethiopia, Kampala, Eldoret, Kaptagat. Let's go to our partners, who is ABSA, and they are represented by Caroline Ndongo, who is the Marketing and Corporate Relations Director. Carol, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you had your morning round this morning.
No, I didn't make it. Today was a bit difficult because we had early morning meetings, so I didn't make it. But I actually do run. I'm actually quite a runner, so it's not an off question, but I haven't made it this morning. I'll try and make up tomorrow.
All right, Carol, I'm very curious as to why ABSA will actually want to join in, support the athletes, athletics to be specific. Why?
I think, first and foremost, thank you so much for letting us on board this. I think our relationship with athletics and sports as a brand is, has been ongoing for a while now. But very specifically around the athletics, earlier this year, we partnered with Eliud Kipchoge right after he did, after the run that he did in terms of the Ineos one, where he showed us that no human is limited. And we partnered with him because we wanted him to support us as we landed our brand ABSA, to basically bring to life what we call the Africanacity, which is the tenacious way and the ingenuity that we use to get things done in Africa and in Kenya specifically. And we thought that he was a perfect embodiment of that, given what he had done. Which is to break a world record and to just basically create a new frontier for all of us. So specifically as a brand, we get involved in sports, but also particularly around this space of athletics. Our partnership with Eliud is one. So when this opportunity, we must absolutely join in and cheer him on and cheer on all the other athletes as well. So that's in a nutshell why we're participating.
All right, thank you very much, Carol. We'll, of course, be getting back to you because I understand that ABSA also has something to do with staying fit. So those details will be coming up in the course of this hour. And why don't we just rush out to Ethiopia, where we have a Haile. That's not his full name, so he'll tell us his full name. And probably how is the Ethiopian team preparing for the London Marathon? It's quite an array of stars, including Kenenisa Bekele, who is tipped to be the biggest challenger to our very own world record holder, Eliud Kipchoge. Haile, how are the Ethiopian runners preparing for this?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's good to be back on this platform again. So the Ethiopian athletes have been preparing at least for the past 1 or 2 months because we have been in lockdown. So working training on group was totally abandoned by the state of emergency that we are in. But due to different measures, now especially those athletes who are going to participate in London Marathon and other international events have the access to train with smaller numbers in groups. So the trainings are very well, and the athletes know whom they are going to compete with and what this kind of international competitions required. They have been running there so many times and they know what it takes to be a champion in this kind of races. So they have been doing their preparation very well.
Thank you very much, Hailey. Of course, we'll be getting back to just to get some specifics. Kenenisa Bekele is one of them. There are about 7 Ethiopian athletes, and all of them actually will be challenging for that 40th London Marathon title. What about our neighbors in Uganda? They've been a force to reckon with in the recent past. And I'm joined by NTV, Uganda's very own Joel Kamadi, who will probably tell us about Kiplimo, who was very successful, by the way, in Ostrava, and of course, Chemgetich, who is actually with the 10,000 meters record early in the Diamond League. What is Uganda doing? Have they been peeping across the border and seeing what our Kenyan runners have been doing, Joel?
Watson, first of all, before I start, I just wanted to tell you, I've seen you stretch when you came in, and it looks like COVID is treating you quite well, my brother. So you're looking good, you're looking fit. But yeah, many thanks for having me. So, you know, with the COVID, of course, it's messed everything up. We've had restrictions on sporting activities. We don't know when they're going to come back here in Uganda. So it's been very hard for athletes, first of all, to even get prepared, to even, you know, do something with their bodies. And, you know, with Olympic runners or with long distance runners, Olympic year or marathon years, that's when their mind is fit, their body is fit, their shape is, you know, 100%. And that's why they make their money. So when sporting activities are cancelled, it becomes hard for them to even, you know, try and do anything. And they've been trying to keep fit at home, of course, getting with the whole coronavirus and everything else happening. They've been trying to, you know, train in as small numbers and as small as they can. But it's been hard for them. They've asked government, they're pleading with the government to open up so that they can race. But you were talking about, I heard you talking about, you know, the lack of pace setters at the London Marathon this year. And one of the people who, you know, can testify to not being there is a 2012 Olympic marathon holder, Stephen Kiprotich. He was set to participate at that London Marathon, but because, you know, of COVID and everything else that's happening, he's not been classified as an elite runner for this coming competition. So he'll have to stay home and everybody will have to watch it from here. But yeah, you talked about what are they doing, peeping across the border. Yes, they are. They train with these guys most of the time. We've seen Joshua Cheptegei, who broke, you know, 3 records since December 1st, 2019. He's broken 3 records: the 5,000 meter Valencia road race, the 10-kilometer road race, and now the 5,000 meter world record holder. He also, I don't know if you're aware, but he also said that he's gunning for the 10,000 meter record in that's 2 days before our independence on a Wednesday in Valencia at the NN running event. So he wants to break the 10th. He's gunning for the 10,000 meter record that Kenenisa Bekele, you know, holds. So we're yet to see how that goes. But yes, they've been training. He came back home, isolated for 14 days, 2 weeks, because he was, you know, from foreign land. And so he isolated and he resumed training just 2 weeks ago. So he's looking fit. He's looking better. He's looking he's in the form of his life.
Thank you very much, Joel Kamadi there from Uganda, just telling us, giving us an outlook of how the athletics scene looks like under the coronavirus. Now, he spoke about Ugandan athletes peeping across the border, very close to where our Kenyan athletes train, and that is in Eldoret, where Lois is actually sitting with an athletics coach who can probably tell us what has been happening under the coronavirus restrictions and if the Kenyan athletes are actually ready to go ahead and compete, as we try and get Lois there. So we will be going to Lois shortly, and they'll be explaining to us what has been going on. And we hope in this hour that we will be also getting a glimpse of what is happening at the Kaptagat camp. That is where the world record holder Eliud Kipchoge, who is among the top athletes that will be competing at the elite-only 40th edition of the London Marathon. That's the reason, actually, we have interrupted your broadcast to show you that Kenya is ably represented by a well-experienced and very talented group of athletes, and they will be competing in London on the 4th of October. We also have Ethiopian athletes who will be taking part in this, led by Kenenisa Bekele. And I can tell you what, that elite list of runners includes former Olympic gold medalists, former world champions, some of them are current, and world record holders, defending champions. It will be indeed a race to actually enjoy. It is not your regular course, because we have a looped course and it will be 42 kilometers, and there will be only elite runners. There will be pacers, and they have been training, and in the course of this 1 month, NTV will be trying to speak to every single Kenyan athlete that will be competing in that event. Of course, they are coaches on how these guys are preparing for the London Marathon. Eliud Kipchoge has won it 4 times. So let's go to Ethiopia shortly, and maybe they can tell us, Kenenisa Bekele, tips to actually go ahead and break that successful streak by Eliud Kipchoge. Is Kenenisa the man to do it, or the lineup that includes Mosinet, Tala, all those guys? Are they capable of actually challenging Eliud Kipchoge highly?
It seems like that. It really seems that, previously, Kenenisa was trained alone with his coach, so there is no enthusiasm to go far on his trainings. That's why he was just trying to compete but not able to finish his races. But lately, he was changing his mentality, his training regime, and he's now changing even a coach. So now he's training with a coach named Ajay Adelo, a man who is responsible for more than 100 elite Ethiopian athletes across different categories. So he's the man who changed his training regime. Now Kenenisa is trained with his fellow Ethiopian superstar athletes. So he have the energy, the motivation, the enthusiasm to go and run faster and longer. So as a result, we saw the result in Berlin a year ago, was just missed the World Marathon just for 2 seconds. Since then, he's keeping up that training regime and working with the team. So it is this time now, Kenenisa is trying to reclaim his supremacy in overall long distance running. You know that, Kenenisa is the undisputed king of the overall long distance racing, because I've been doing it in track, I've been doing it in cross country, I've been doing it in marathons. But when it comes to head-to-head in marathon, it's Kipchoge without a doubt, that because I've got 4 encounters and 4 of them were won by Kipchoge. And I think this time it's going to be a different story.
Well, that is how serious the London Marathon will be on the 4th of October. That is how serious that will be. But I'm curious just to who the Ugandans will be supporting on the 4th of October in the London Marathon. Joel, maybe, are you guys supporting Kenyans, or as highly said, Kenenisa Bekele is actually going for that crown? Is it Kenya or Ethiopia for the Ugandans, Joel?
Highly, I like you very much, but honestly, you know how this one is going, right? Eliud Kipchoge congratulated Joshua Cheptegei after he smashed the 10,000 meter record set by held by Kenenisa when he smashed it. So Eliud Kipchoge came in and congratulated him and said, you know what, this is a kid who has so much, in him, and he can go for another 5 years and do great things. So Watson, given that explanation, I think you already know that most of the Ugandans, yes, will be supporting Eliud Kipchoge, and he's just a down-to-earth guy. He's just down to earth. His training regimen is serious. You see him when he's training in Iten and wherever he trains from. So we'll be supporting Eliud Kipchoge without a doubt, and we are hoping he'll smash that record again. But I'm also confident that it will be a close one, but I'm rooting for Eliud Kipchoge. I think he'll nick it.
All right, thank you very much, Joel. Earlier you told me you still have a show on NTV Uganda, but if you can stay long, we'll be grateful. But if you can't, of course, we will be keeping in touch in the course of the next 1 month as we prepare for the London Marathon. Now, on the 5th floor, and he called it London Ndogo, and that is Joshua Makori. He says he's all warmed up and ready for London Marathon proper. That is the 40th edition of that race. So, Joshua, what do you have in store for us?
Watson, sasa ndo mida mimi niseme na muhariri mkuu wa michezo hapa Nation Media Group Elias Makori, alafu baadaye nimlete ndani ambaye ni mkuu wa idara ya utangazaji pesi na Elias Makori. NTV moja kwa moja tarehe 4, unaonaje?
Kweli itakuwa siku kwa NTV, manake ni nafasi ya wananchi kushuhudia ndio kubwa sana mwaka huu, kwa sababu utaona kwamba mwaka huu imekuwa ni vigumu kuwa na mashindano yale. Mashindano ya New York yalitupiliwa mbali, Chicago yakatupiliwa mbali, vile vile wakatupilia mbali Berlin. Tokyo walikimbia mwezi Machi lakini bila mashabiki. Sasa hivi tunaona kwamba London pia watakimbia mwaka huu.
Na ukiangalia NTV kupata fursa hii sana kuonesha London Marathon, na ni msimu ambao kiukweli wanariadha wa haiba kubwa tu ndio wanaruhusiwa kukimbia kwa sababu ya homa ya corona.
Ni heshima kubwa na nafasi kubwa kwa NTV, manake ukiangalia kuna stesheni nyingi tu hapa nchini, kule nje ambazo zilikuwa zinataka kuonyesha mbio hizi, lakini utapata kwamba walikuwa naangalia ni stesheni gani ya maana sana. Kwa hivyo ikawa NTV ndio iko kule juu, tukawahi kupata hii nafasi.
Mungu ni mkuu. Sasa hapa katika upande wa wanaume ushindani utakuwa hali ya juu. Kenenisa Bekele, Eliud Kipchoge, unaonaje?
Itakuwa ni mbio ngumu sana. Najua watu wengi wanaangazia Kenenisa na Eliud, lakini pia kuna ndume wengine kule. Kuna yule anaitwa Tamira Tola ambaye nampigia debe, labda anaweza kuwa nambari 2 au nambari 1. Nimewahi kusafiri naye kule Prague, Czech Republic, alishinda mbio za nusu marathon 21 kilometers. Niliwahi kuwa naye kule London, huko kwenye michuano ya dunia miaka 3 iliyopita, alikuwa nambari ya 2. Kwa hivyo ni mwanariadha mtajika. Kuna wengine pia kina Mosenet Geremiu, kuna Ethiopia wengi sana. Utaangalia kwamba Wakenya ni wachache kuliko wa Ethiopia. Sasa hatujui kwamba wale wa Ethiopia watashirikiana ili waweze kuwahi akina Kipchoge, lakini najua Eliud akona timu safi sana. Kuna wale pacemakers, wale ambao wanawasukuma alafu wanaondoka. Walifanya vizuri kwenye mbio za Ineos 159 challenge kule Vienna mwaka uliopita. Akina Victor Chumo yuko kule mazoezini, na labda natarajia tazungumza naye Eliud muda mfupi kutoka sasa. Wanapiga tizi kule Kaptagat, na kwa hivyo naona kikosi cha Kenya ni shwari kabisa.
Katika uongozi wa mwendo pia yuko Mofara
ndio yuko kule, lakini hata maliza mbio hizi. Waandalizi wa London Marathon wamemchukua ili aweze kuwasukuma wale wanariadha wa Great Britain, Uingereza, ili waweze kupata ule muda unahitajika kuqualify ama kufuzu kwa ajili ya mbio za Olimpiki mwakani. Muda huo ni masaa 2 dakika 11 na sekunde 30, 2:11:30. Kwa hivyo ndio muda Mofara atakuwa na sukuma ili waweze kupata huo muda, wawahi tiketi za kwenda kule Tokyo kwa ajili ya mbio za Olimpiki. Na kuna wanariadha wazuri tu kule Uingereza. Kuna Callum Hawkins ambaye alikuwa nafasi ya 3 kwenye mbio za Doha World Championship, nafasi ya 4 samani. Ya 3 ilikuwa Amos mwanariadha wetu wa Kenya hapa, and then yeye akawa nafasi ya 4. Callum Hawkins kwa hivyo ni mwanariadha mmoja ambaye Mo Farah atakuwa na msukuma awahi kufika ndani ya muda huu ambao unahitajika na waandalizi wa Olimpiki.
Na upande wa kinadada unaonaje Las Makori pamoja na tajriba ulionayo katika ulimwengu wa riadha?
Upande wa kinadada pia utakuwa ngumu sana, manake kuna wawili wale. Kuna yule anayeshikilia rekodi ya dunia Bridget Kosgei, ambao na muda bora sana duniani, ambao mwanadada amewahi kukimbia marathon ambao ni muda wa masaa 2 dakika 14.04. Alikimbia kule Chicago mwaka uliopita. Vile vile kuna bingwa wa dunia Ruth Chepngetich ambaye pia anapiga tizi hapa Ngong, mwanajeshi yule, kwa hivyo anajiandaa kijeshi. Na tusimsahau Vivian Cheruiyot, aliwahi kuwika kwenye Olimpiki mbio za dunia za track mita 1500 samani na 10,000. Kwa hivyo yeye pia yuko, na kuna wale pia wapya kama Edith Chelimo, ndiye anakimbia mara yake ya kwanza, amekimbia wiki iliyopita kule Prague half marathon. Kwa hivyo yeye pia tujui nguvu zake ziko vipi, lakini pia tuko na timu nzuri yake.
Sasa naambiwa mimi nikukabidhi hili bomba, alafu wewe useme na Monica Ndungo hapa moja kwa moja, mkuu wa idara ya utangazaji hapa Nation Media Group. Angalau useme naye, microphone yako hii.
Samani. Shukran Makori. Monica, it's a big one.
Oh, totally. First, it's exciting. In a year that so many things haven't gone right, it's fantastic for Nation Media Group to then ensure every Kenyan can watch the London Marathon and support the Kenyans. I mean, you shared with me some stats, and I'm just looking at the Kenyan names on the lists of people that have won the marathon. You know, a lot of times we speak about men, but when you look at Bridget Kosgei, Ruth Chepngetich, Vivian Cheruiyot, people who have gone before and won London, I think it just gives me a lot of joy just to be able to be part of a group that values Kenyan athletes, but also values audiences and ensures they can be able to catch some of the things they wouldn't be able to catch, Makori.
And it's also a big honor and privilege for NTV to be showing this, not only in Kenya, but also across the border in Uganda, and of course, bigger audiences via other channels.
Yes.
What did it get into, securing these rights for the London Marathon?
I think securing the rights for the London Marathon was a very intentional thing by the Nation Media Group, in the understanding that Kenyans love their athletes, Kenyans support their athletes, and as you can see, our rallying call to Kenyans is "Let's go Kenya." And anywhere you are in the world, when you just say "Let's go Kenya," most likely, even if it's not a Kenyan that's seated next to you, they shout back at you, "Let's go Kenya, let's go." And so for Nation Media Group, it's the value we place at celebrating our athletes, but also ensuring that not just in Kenya, like you're saying, also in Uganda, these rights are also going to be available on radio, on mobile, online for streaming within Kenya and Uganda. So for us, it's to ensure you don't have to be stuck at home. Wherever you are, you can be able to literally be able to push the Kenyan athletes towards the finish line.
And of course, the Daily Nation will have exclusive reports from tomorrow, building up all the way to October 4th. It's going to be a very exciting weekend. Who are you putting your money on in this particular race? Let me challenge you with that one.
So first, the thing is, these rights are not just about TV. Like you said, also the Nation newspaper, all our products will literally be supporting the athletes. I am very biased because I want to put my money on a Kenyan. And I want to say whichever Kenyan. Because for me, it's about this country. It's about the love that the people of this country have for their athletes. So as long as we can make sure that it's Kenya that comes back, we are betting on a Kenyan.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, across the border in Uganda, they'll also be following closely. Definitely, we know that there's no Ugandan running, but Ugandan athletics has really come up. We saw last night Jacob Kiplimo winning the 5,000 meters in the Continental Tour in that was in the Czech Republic, Ostrava.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say for Ugandan viewers, or NTV Uganda also?
I think Ugandan viewers, we are starting to get a bit worried about the Ugandan athletes as Kenyans because they are really starting to perform on the international stage. And so for me, for Ugandans, it's really about just that East African spirit, but also because they are really starting to make inroads. And maybe just to ask you a question, Makori, how does it feel for you? How does it feel for you as a long-term sports fanatic, sports writer, to then look forward to the London Marathon?
Well, it's exciting because I don't want to say who my favorite is or my money is on who, but of course the Kenyans. I followed Eliud. I was with him in Vienna. I was with him in Berlin, and so I know he's a class runner. But let's wait. There'll be more coming, and I think Watson in the studio has a bit more for us as we continue with this build-up to London Marathon.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. That able team that leads the media group here, of course, sports and broadcasting. And as they said, NTV and NMG as a whole is the broadcast house that can actually deliver everything. We will get you reports from across the borders. And right now, we are crossing the county borders and heading to Kaptagat, where we have caught up with Eliud Kipchoge, who is still training for the London Marathon. Eliud, how are you? I hope our training has been going on well. How are you preparing for the London Marathon back home? Eliud, if you can hear me, how are you preparing for the 40th edition of the London Marathon? You're chasing a 5th consecutive title in London. Do you feel any intense challenge coming from especially the Ethiopians? Of course, we're trying to get a hold of Eliud Kipchoge, who's training in Kaptagat. And I'll tell you what, the 35-year-old has a personal best time. This is an official time of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, and that is a world record which he set back in Berlin in 2018. He has Olympic golds under his around his neck. They hang them around the neck. World titles as well. He's a 4-time London Marathon winner. As I told you, he's a defending champion. So he has intense pressure going to the 40th edition of the London Marathon, which, by the way, is just elite athletes invited to compete there. And by the way, of course, Elias Makori mentioned Ineos 159. He's the only athlete to have run under 2 hours, and he did it in Austria, Vienna. But that time was never really ratified by the IAAF, and that is why we say he has run the marathon under 2 hours, but it is not ratified or an actual world record under the IAAF. That is of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds. He's done it, and so I hope he can run. So I'll go back to Eliud, and maybe he can just tell us how he is preparing for the London Marathon. Eliud, take it away.
Yes, Watson. I can hear you now.
Fantastic. How are you preparing for the London Marathon?
I'm preparing well. Thank you for connection. But the summit is that preparation is going on well in a positive way and in a happy way.
Yes, of course, the coronavirus has interrupted and disrupted sporting activities. How are you handling it as a professional and very experienced athlete?
Hello.
Yes, Eliud, I'm asking, how are you preparing and training under the very strict coronavirus restrictions that have actually affected sports, not only in Kenya, but globally?
I've tried to consolidate my team. I've tried to come together, although we are not much, but about 6 to 10 people to allow us to train well, but above all observe the government directives. But all in all is that we are training now as a team, but we have not yet actually resumed our camp. We are coming back and going back, but still the schooling. We are like the scholars here in the camp, so, but all is going on well as far as training is concerned.
You've become a serious fan favorite, especially for your, world-breaking runs. Do we expect such a run in London, considering that it's only elite athletes and the pacemakers that will be on the streets of London in the looped course?
Sorry? Come up.
Yes, I'm saying, do we expect another world-breaking run in London, considering that we have very experienced elite field competing in London on the 4th of October?
I'm going to London to make sure that I run a beautiful race. I can't say it will be a world record or it will be a course record or what, but we are in a tough times whereby it's really hard for us to consolidate our minds together. But all in all is that it will be a different race in London. It will be running in a loop, in a park. But I expect a very high competition from my colleagues. But all in all is that we will have a very good race and interesting in London. One is that it will be a different course. Second is that I think some good times and an interesting run will be actually there on 4th next month.
Yes, just the other day we saw you running at the Masai Mara, and we saw zebras and all sorts of wild animals running onto the path. Going to London, is it something that you hope that you can sell the country as still that tourist destination for them to come and not only enjoy the wildlife, but also train in the country?
Absolutely, Kenya is good, and I'm going to London to sell our country, our beautiful country. That if you come to Kenya, you can train in a very good terrain, good environment, breathe good air. Above all, you can run with animals. If you go to visit one of the conservancies or one of the national parks, we call it running with a wild. So all in all is that I'm actually assuring all the tourists that Kenya is good. You can train and be in shape, and above all, you can enjoy watching the animals. At the same time, running where the animals is.
All right,
so it's a high time for us to sell Kenya in London. It's high time for us to sell what beautiful things are inside our country.
Yes, Kipchoge, I know we interrupted some bit of your training, but one last question. Of course, we see the lineup of the Ethiopians is actually a star-studded lineup. Can we expect intense challenge from the Ethiopians? You've raced them, you raced against them before. Do you feel that this time Kenenisa can actually give you that challenge and beat him? Are you even close friends with Kenenisa?
Oh, I'm close friend to Kenenisa. I'm close friend to everybody. But you know, it will be a tough competition on 4th. But I'm going to London as Eliud. I'm going to treat myself as the best one. But you know, the results actually, you know, in sport, we say, if you want to enjoy sport, then you accept the results. So I'm going to put all my effort in London. On the other hand, the athletes from around the world will put all their efforts also. But at the end of the day, we'll have the winner.
Fantastic, Eliud. Always a pleasure talking to you, and we wish you all the best in your training. And when you go to London, of course, very many Kenyans are rooting for you, and NTV, of course, will be with you all the way to London. Now, let's take a quick break. And yes, Eliud, please go ahead by all means.
I want to take this time to appreciate NTV for wiring for London. This is the only time whereby we need to bring hope to our citizens, to our 47 million Kenyans, that COVID cannot actually bring Kenya down. So we'll wake up and move on as always. So thank you for actually for hiring this thing. Thank you for actually preparing well for the 4th of October. I hope all the Kenyans over that 5 million will watch, which will be a good thing, and all of them will have hope in their lives. The only thing whereby you can give Kenyans now is hope, and tell them that the future is great, tomorrow is good, and if we take care and actually be together, you know, we are running for unity, we are running together. To run alone actually is not sport, but to run as all of us is a sport. So I'm telling Kenyans, let us rally all of us together, be united, and they always say the laughter for tomorrow is sweeter than today. So let us be one, and we'll make this country a beautiful country and a united country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wise words there from the world record holder in the marathon, of course. Let's take a short break, and after this, we'll be telling you what NTV has in store for you on the 4th of October.
It's time to kickstart your smart and give your brain a mega boost with DSTV. There's oodles of mind-blowing channels for kids young and old.
That's amazing!
With shows by the zillion for every household.
Yes!
Plus adventure and learning and laughter galore. Whatever your brain boost, you'll find it and more.
And that's a recipe for awesomeness.
All together now. To get your knowledge workout, get connected to DSTV.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
1, wake up. 2, brush up. 3, smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong tea. Smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong tea.
Do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smell about.
This is NTV.
Welcome back. we have been speaking to Eliud Kipchoge, who's the world record holder in the marathon, and he's telling us he's prepared to go out there and race as Eliud, regardless of the competition. And I can tell you what, the competition in London will be actually very intense. The Ethiopians, the Kenyans themselves, and we expect to an interesting race on the 4th of October. Remember, it has been postponed from from April, its traditional date, and it will be taking place on the 4th of October. And we're wishing all the athletes all the best. And here's a team that has been keeping abreast with what is happening in the athletics world, and that is ABSA. Of course, there is a campaign that goes Stay Active, Carol. What does it involve? Because Eliud also spoke about Kenyans staying fit, especially now during the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes, thanks for that, Watson. So Stay Fit, Stay Active is a campaign that we've coined as ABSA in this time. The idea here being that, obviously now people aren't moving as much as they used to. You're spending a lot of time at home. You're just a step away from your refrigerator. So the idea is that we'd like for Kenyans to keep moving, to start moving, and to ensure that they can keep their fitness levels up. I mean, it's a phenomenon that we've now seen also that has picked up quite a bit. Every time you look outside, you find people are running, they're walking. And I think that's one of the upsides of COVID, that we've actually taken and now paying attention to our fitness. So what we've done is that we've partnered with different people, different athletes and different organizations or different instructors to essentially keep people moving. And so you can get onto our YouTube page and become a part of the action. We've worked with different gym instructors, dance instructors, and now I'm moving this conversation forward to the athletes themselves. So as part of this, you'll soon see a big program being rolled out on our various platforms, where we'll be working with the likes of Rudisha, with Catherine Dereba, and of course our very own Eliud Kipchoge, to essentially provide tips, to provide all sorts of inspiration for people to keep moving and stay active.
Fantastic. You mentioned the challenges that the COVID-19 has posed now, especially to athletes. Has ABSA been involved in any way in supporting the athletes who have been out of competition for the past 6 months?
Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. And thanks for bringing up that question. We've actually partnered with the Eliud Kipchoge Foundation to essentially provide foodstuff, mask, glucose, and for the ladies as well, sanitary towels. So we worked together with him, and we've gone to 3 camps. I think to Iten, Kapsabet and Eldoret, where we actually provided made these donations. And this is part of our effort to just ensure that our Kenyan athletes, who we are very proud of, can continue training in these tough times. And obviously now with a partnership that we've coined up with this Stay Fit, Stay Active, providing them with even further opportunities to to keep training and also to keep themselves going in as much as they're not able to race and do the things that they'd be normally able to do. We're providing them with activities that can give them a platform and a way of making a contribution to themselves and to the community at large.
Carol, I don't want to let you go before you wish the 22 athletes that will be competing in the London Marathon on the 4th of October. What one message will you send these athletes to London with?
I would just say, go out there, do what you do it as well as you've always done. Is keep us, do us proud and all the very best. Kenya is 100% behind you. We are excited and we're looking forward to, bringing these medals home. So go out and do it.
Fantastic. In future, we expect to see ABSA coming heavily in supporting the sports, various sports disciplines in the country.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Remain committed to being an active force for good. That's our mantra. We intend to be an active force for good. And of course, Kenyan athletics and sports in general is one thing that we're very proud of and do very well at. So we are absolutely, as an organization, committed to staying in this space and growing together with the country.
Thank you very much, Carol, for sparing some few minutes for us here on NTV, and we hope that this partnership can actually go ahead and extend over periods of time. Now let's go to a former London Marathon winner, and Ida Waringa, our very own sports reporter and anchor here on NTV, is talking to Douglas Wakihori, who still trains very many years and decades after he won the London Marathon, among other events. Ida, please take it away.
Great, Watson. Yes, indeed. I am here with the first man ever, or the first Kenyan man, to win the London Marathon. That was back in 1989. So, I mean, we've had a brilliant track record in London since then. Of course, we have had the likes of Vivian Cheruiyot, the likes of Bridget Kosgei on the women's side. And, of course, what many term as the greatest of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, who has won it in the last year, and actually quite a number of times before then. But before all that Kenyan brilliance, Watson, was Douglas Wakihori, who, as we've said, was the first ever Kenyan to win the London Marathon. And before I get to him, just a bit of context in terms of where we are. We are in the Ngong Forest Sanctuary, and it's quite sentimental to Wakihori, because this is where years ago, decades ago, Wakihori would come do his trail run. So basically, the Ngong Forest is what set alight his love for athletics and specifically marathon running, which he would dominate much on later in his life. We are talking London Marathon winner here. We're talking New York City Marathon, Rome Marathon, and of course that silver medal in the Olympics. So it's the man of the moment, of course. Let me get right into it with Mr. Douglas Wakihori here. Thanks a lot for your time, Wakihori. And of course, let's get right into it with the 2020 London Marathon. Lots of, I will say, comments, lots of excitement on that duel, specifically between Kenenisa Bekele and our very own Eliud Kipchoge. However, do you think there will be someone else outside of it who might come and surprise the duel?
Yeah, I think we have to keep that door open. And I know that the two giants are really looking forward to who's going to dominate the race. It's going to be a good race. But yes, there is always somebody somewhere who's not known. Like, you know, if you give an example, 1987, nobody knew about me, and I came up to win the medal for Kenya.
Absolutely. And we look at the 2020 London Marathon specifically. This is the 40th edition. One staggering fact is the fact that there will be no fans present as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic effects. How different do you think it will be now that there are no fans and in previous editions where we have seen that effect of that particular variable?
I think, number one, the recreational running community will have an upset into that. But I think we have a second option whereby we'll all be glued wherever we are in the world. And I think even for ourselves, what we are planning to do is basically to run on that day, whatever run you can do, and maybe get to be glued on the screen to be able to see the duel.
I like what you've said there, you know, glued on your screens. That's exactly what a lot of people will be doing on NTV come 4th of October. Wakihori, tell us the importance of media houses, you know, coming out to support, coming out to cover Kenyan athletes. Because, for example, with Nation Media, we have covered Eliud Kipchoge and indeed a lot of other athletes, much more, especially in the past. Let me know.
It is very important, is where we're known. It's when a young athlete who is coming up is spotted and being able to showcase him or herself. And I think the media does play a great role in what you do in sports. Yeah? And we want you to keep doing that because you have shown the world who we are, and especially you have also pushed the name Kenya out to the world and demonstrated what Kenyans have been doing. I think Kenyan athletes, wherever they have been doing great. And through our partnership between athletes and the media, we are going to keep on doing that because we hope, again, next year, 2021 is a great year for Kenya.
Indeed. Let's get a bit technical, and especially with the course that will be followed in London, because it will be a bit of a different course as a result of the pandemic effects. The sort of loop course and the bubble effect that we're seeing in the 2020 marathon. How different is it, you think, compared to previous editions?
Number one, I think we as athletes are really, really blessed because it is going to be one of the major events in athletics. among other sports. So whether it's a loop, we saw Vienna how it was. So if London is going to be the loop, we must appreciate that it's going to happen. And if that's the case, let us all get out there and cheer and see what comes up.
Kabisa, we are saying let's go Kenya. And looking at the women's side, the likes of Bridget Kosgei, Vivian Cheriot, what are your thoughts in terms of the level of competition? Of course, we are talking an elite race only event.
It is good because I know Ethiopia is also preparing as well. And again, after the COVID pandemic, what has happened, I think it has given us a window to see what would happen if something like this happens. If then we can recover within how many, about 6-7 months, if we can recover and be back in sports, I think it's something that we have learned and we must be improve it in the next coming events.
Fantastic. Douglas Owakehore there, the first Kenyan to win the London Marathon. That was all the way back in 1989. We are talking 2020 London Marathon now. It will be an elite-only race. We have several Kenyans taking part, of course, headlined by the GOAT, as they call him, Eliud Kipchoge. Much more on that to come. Don't forget NTV Kenya exclusive rights to air this particular marathon, and of course on digital platforms as well. Watson, I'm really looking forward to it, and it's back to you in studio.
Well, thank you very much, Aida, there at the very cold and chilly Ngong Sanctuary. And of course, always a pleasure having Douglas Wakihori. Now, I was talking earlier to Ayumba Ayodi, who is a sports journalist, and he's curiously asking Aida where she was back in 1989 when Douglas Wakihori won the London Marathon as the first Kenyan. Of course, we'll be telling us where she was then. Let's go to Eldoret, in our Eldoret NTV studios, where Lois Wangoi is speaking to an athletics coach, probably telling us how athletes are preparing or how they can prepare to go ahead and win a marathon race. Lois. All right, we'll see. We're not giving up on Lois just yet because it's very important with the guests she has in our NTV Eldoret studios, because it's a coach and he can probably explain a marathon. Now, again, this is NTV bringing to you the London Marathon. That is the 40th edition of the London Marathon, live on the 4th of October. And it will be live exclusive on NTV. And through this whole hour from 11 a.m., we've been displaying just the might of Nation Media Group, taking you to Ethiopia, to Uganda, to Kaptagat, speaking to Eliud Kipchoge, who is actually looking for that 5th title in London. He's the world record holder, remember. But there are other athletes also taking part in the London Marathon, the 40th edition of it. And we have Bridget Kosgei, the winner in London as well. Vivian Cheriot has also won in London. Ruth Chemgetich is also competing in London. And that's the might of that elite only runners field in the 40th edition of the London Marathon. Now, of course, when we speak athletics, Kenyans enjoy and it brings Kenyans together. And this is what a section of Kenyans had to say ahead of the London Marathon of the 4th of October. Let's sample them.
My name is Clifford Machoka, Head of External Affairs and Marketing at the Nation Media Group. This is exciting times, and this is to wish Eliud Kipchoge and all the Kenyan athletes all the very best in the upcoming 2020 London Marathon. This is also to invite all of you to tune in to NTV Kenya and NTV Uganda on 4th October at 10 a.m. so that you can actually be able to enjoy this world-class viewing experience. Let's go Kenya!
We are very proud of you, and we wish you all the best. So make us proud, and we know you will.
Looking forward to watching every single exciting moment. Let's go Kenya!
My name is James Mwamba. I'm a sports journalist at Nation Media Group. I want to urge all Kenyans to tune in to NTV on the 4th of October 2020 to cheer our athletes to victory at the London Marathon. We'll have Eliud Kipchoge taking on Kenenisa Bekele of Ethiopia head on, and I urge all Kenyans to tune in to support our heroes as they seek to win various titles in London Marathon. Let's go, Kenya.
Hey guys, my name is Jeff Angote, I work with Nation Photo Desk, and I want to wish the Kenyan marathoners who are going to participate in the London Marathon all the best, especially Eliud Kipchoge and the Team Kenya. We at Nation, we wish you all the best. Go Team Kenya.
Victor Odhiambo, digital producer at Daily Nation. The 2020 London Marathon is finally here, wishing all the best to Team Kenya. Don't forget to tune in on NTV on the 4th of October. Let's go Team Kenya.
We as Nation Media, we support Eliud Kipchoge and Team Kenya, wishing them all the best in the forthcoming London Marathon. Don't forget to tune in to NTV to watch our stars. Let's go Team Kenya.
Hello. This is Thomas Matiko, entertainment writer, Daily Nation, Mwanaspoti, and Taifa Leo. So basically, this is a message to wish our champion all the best, Eliud Kipchoge. We all know come October 4th, there's the London Marathon. He'll be taking it up with Kenenisa Bekele. And the guy says this time round, lazima angushe Eliud. But we all know Eliud holds the world record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39. So basically, Bekele has nothing on him. Eliud has won 11 of the 12 marathon he has competed. So I really don't see why Kenenisa would be a threat. The race will be live on your favorite channel, NTV, 4th of October. Mark the date. Let's go, Kenya.
My name is Kevin Gitao. I'm a producer at NTV, and I want to say, you guys, you need to tune in to NTV on October the 4th. You have to watch the London Marathon live because this is going to be a great one. This is going to be none like the other. Records are going to be broken, both in male and female competitions. So you have to witness history in the making. You have to watch greatness in motion. See you then.
My name is Philemon Kimayo. I want to wish Team Kenya all the best, and I know you can do it. Let's go, Kenya.
Let's go, Kenya. Let's go. Tune in to NTV on 4th October, even as we wish Team Kenya all the best in the upcoming London Marathon 2020. Tukutane NTV, 4th October. Kosa uchekwe.
Hello Kenyans, my name is Judith Cherono from NTV. I'm wishing Team Kenya all the best on the forthcoming marathon. I'm requesting you fellow Kenyans to tune in to NTV on 4th October. Thanks, and let's go Team Kenya.
Indeed, let's go Kenya, let's go Kenya. Fantastic. Let's go to Eldoret with Lois Wangoi.
Yeah, you've met her before. Welcome back, dear viewer. We come to you live from Eldoret in the county of Uasin Gishu. Many thanks, Watson, and sorry for that technical hitch, dear viewer. Here in studio, we are joined by one of our coaches from the region, Hashan Tibon, and also an athlete, Jairus Birech, who is the 3,000 meters steeplechase 2014 African champion. We start with you, Coach. The amount of excitement going on right now. We have our athletes preparing day in, day out. What sort of activities are you having?
Thanks so much. At the moment, I want to say that the coaches are very committed to assist and to help the athletes in training.
Right.
And I want also to say that we have a lot of fans also here in Eldoret and in Iten. Everybody is waiting for London Marathon. And I want to tell you that we are all prepared and we are waiting for that day. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Jairus Birech, nataka tuzungumze na wewe. Umesikia mwenzetu Aida akisema mara hii itakuwa tofauti kidogo when athletes will be taking to London Marathon. Hakutakuwa na mashabiki. Wewe as an athlete, ikiwa na ulikuwa unakimbia hiyo mbio, would you see inaweza kuwa na a bit of difficulties ama it will be still okay for our athletes?
Nano kwangu ni okay, ukiwa mwanariadha hii itakuwa tofauti kidogo, but njia tu itakimbiliwa mzuri tuko hapa tu support Team Kenya. Yeah.
Aha. Hapo kwa tofauti kidogo, hebu tufafanulie kidogo. Labda mtu akikimbia kukiwa na mashabiki, then you become very motivated.
Kwanza hii ni si marathon ya kawaida, hii ni loop.
No.
So I think tutakimbia mzuri. Yeah.
Okay, and indeed, Coach, different circumstances owing to the regulations against the spread of COVID-19. These particular athletes, persons like Eliud Kipchoge, who've taken the London course before, will be doing it a bit differently. Will that have an impact when it comes to the results that we'll be seeing from the participants on London Marathon?
I don't think, because our athletes are ready every time, you know. We also teach our athletes to tell them that you should be ready anytime, you know, depending also with the weather, maybe in a hot weather or in a cold weather. We normally tell them that an athlete is always ready.
Right.
Yeah. You cannot just say that because of the loop or because of this that I will not go and compete, you know, in London, or I'm not ready. The athletes should be ready every time. Yes.
And indeed, this particular race coming at a time where there is a global pandemic, which has sort of brought the world into a village. We are tackling COVID-19. Are we looking into this particular race into playing a role of sort of refreshing the minds of people globally, and even Kenyans being a symbol of unity?
Yes. What I want to say that you know, through athletics, you know, athletics has brought people together, because at the moment everybody wants to watch London Marathon, and everybody is expecting, that they want to see London Marathon that day.
Right.
And I want to tell you that I remember during the Ineos that Ineos brought the world together.
Yes.
You know, as
but at least we got some wise words there from the coach and athlete from the Eldoret studios right there with Lois Wangoi. Now let's just take a quick roundabout on who to expect on the London Marathon elite feed. We have Eliud Kipchoge, Kenenisa Bekele, Mosinet Geremiu, Marius Kipserem, that's a Kenyan athlete, Mule Wasihun is an Ethiopian, Tammy Tola, Elias Makori talked about him, from Ethiopia, Shura Kitata, another Ethiopian, and of course we have Sise Lema, who is also another Ethiopian. Other Kenyans competing in London also will be Vincent Kipchumba, Gideon Kipketer, among a lineup of other athletes. There will be 22 of them from Kenya. That includes the women's event. And just to run you through them, we have, of course, Bridget Kosgei, Ruth Chemgetich, Vivian Cheruiyot, those are the Kenyan athletes. Valerie Gemelli, the Kenyan athletes in the women's race. We have Rosa Dereje, who is an Ethiopian. Degitu Azimero, another Ethiopian. Ashete Bekere, another Ethiopian. Alemu Megertu, an Ethiopian. So we expect the competition to come down to Kenyans and Ethiopians. But of course, this is athletics. Anything can happen. We've seen surprises in long-distance running where athletes outside of Kenya and Ethiopia go ahead and actually beat the Kenyan and Ethiopians in some of these races. And so we expect intense competition on the 40th edition of the London Marathon. Remember, to be ran on different course from its traditional streets venue. It will be a looped course, I think at St. James Park. We only have 40 elite athletes invited there. Elias Makori and Joshua Makori were discussing that Mo Farah, who will be at home, will also be running at the London Marathon, not to finish, but probably to test how he's faring. He ran in the 1-hour race in the Diamond League, and he broke a record. So he expects also to put himself against the other great marathoners, and just to test on how he has been training for the upcoming athletics calendar. So we expect serious competition, and all that will be right here live on NTV on the 4th of October. So keep it NTV throughout this month. some of the guys we've seen on our screens will be having detailed profiles and how they've been preparing for the London Marathon. So let's just see some of the athletes that will be competing at the London Marathon. One of them here is Bridget Jepkowski. Let's just see how she stands out for the marathon. That's right, exclusively on NTV, the 20th edition, the 40th edition of the London Marathon. Earlier we had the first Kenyan to win the London Marathon, that is Douglas Wakihori, speaking to Aida Warenga and of course telling us what we can expect. And it seems that almost everyone we've spoken to seems to agree that despite it being an elite-only marathon, that doesn't affect the athletes. More so Eliud Kipchoge, who we have seen run under such conditions as he chased the world record running under 2 hours. He's tried it twice and running on a looped course, just guided by pacers. So I think in a way, it could work for Eliud Kipchoge, such conditions, the Ineos, and let's see how that goes. Now we have our very own London Dogo happening just a floor below us here on Nation Media Group, and Joshua Makori has been there, and maybe he just keeps us abreast on what is going on. I hope you guys have not cut that cake, because you still threw me into the studio, and I'm just wondering if that ever happened. So let's see if we can get the London Marathon, London Dogo with Joshua Makori, just to see what he's up to around the sports desk area of the NTV Nation Media Group. Joshua. Right, we still can't get Joshua Makori there, and I can assure you that the field of athletes that will be competing in the London Marathon, I'm just going to run you through them. These are the Ethiopian. We have 38-year-old Kenenisa Bekele, who has a personal best time of 2 hours, 1 minute and 41 seconds, and he set that time in Berlin just last year. And of course, you can see just seconds shy of what Eliud Kipchoge has run officially under the IAAF. And Eliud's, just to compare the two, is 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds. See, just a second's difference. So we can expect the two, and arguably that is why the race has been zoomed in on the two guys, Eliud Kipchoge of Kenya and Kenenisa Bekele of Ethiopia. But of course, there will be other athletes who will be lined up in that elite only race in London on the 4th of October. We have Mosinet Geremiu of Ethiopia. He's 28 years old. He has a personal best time of 2 hours, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. He said that in that very city, London, in 2019. He's the second fastest marathoner, by the way. He's also the silver medalist in the World Championships, and that was in Doha 2019. So you can see his form is more recent. He was second in London behind Eliud Kipchoge again last year. So he'll be, of course, giving Eliud Kipchoge a run for his money. Mulewa Sihun is yet another athlete, 27 years old, a personal best time of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Where? Set where? London again, 2019. He was third behind Eliud Kipchoge and Mosinet Geremiu. So the 1, 2, 3 guys who finished in London last year will still be taking on each other again this year on a different course, by the way, looped in London, St. James Park. And so just painting a picture on what we can expect in London on the 4th of October. Another Ethiopian athlete, Tamirat Tola, aged 29. Personal best time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 6 seconds, set back in 2018 in Dubai. He was a silver medalist in the World Championships back in 2017, and a winner in the Dubai Marathon with a course record, by the way, in 2017, and he was third at the Rio Olympics back in 2016. Shura Kitata is yet another Ethiopian athlete. He's much younger than the athletes I have mentioned before there, and he's 24 years old, ran a personal best time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 49 seconds. Again, London 2018. So you see, these are guys familiar with London. So for Eliud, who's won it 4 times, looking for a 5th one, it is going to be a challenge, of course, for our Kenyan athletes. I'll be giving you the lineup of Kenyan athletes there shortly. Kitata has also won, was second in the New York City Marathon in 2018. So his form focuses around 2018, and in 2019 he wasn't very active in the marathon races because he had earlier won in Rome in 2017. Sisay Lema, a 29-year-old Ethiopian, last year he ran a personal best time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 36 seconds in Berlin. Again, a personal best for Sisay Lema. He won the Frankfurt Marathon back in 2015. He was third in Berlin in 2019 when he ran that personal best time. Let's look at some of the Kenyan athletes that we expect, and of course they will be led by the world record holder, Eliud Kipchoge, 35 years old. He's run a personal best time of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, which I'll tell you, and I've told you before, is the world record, and he did that 2 years ago in Berlin. He has Olympic gold titles, world titles. He's a 4-time London Marathon winner. So he's the defending champion when he's going to London. So he's run the marathon under 2 hours, of course, in the Ineos 159 challenge. Very interesting, of course, their statistics from Eliud Kipchoge. Marius Kipserem is another runner. He's 32 years old. Rotterdam Marathon in 2019. He set a course record there. Vincent Kipchumba, a 30-year-old Kenyan, who will also be competing. Gideon Kipketer, another Kenyan, aged 28. And, of course, in the women's race, we'll have Bridget Kosgei, who we saw profile earlier. And I'm informed that the cake is still intact. And in London Ndogo, we have Joshua Makori, and maybe he can tell us what's been happening pale London Ndogo. Makori.
Watson hapo ukiwa katika orofa ya juu, orofa ya 6. Mimi London Ndogo tayari imejaa hadi pomoni. Kwa heshima kubwa ya kukatwa keki hapa, manake ni siku ya ndovu kumla mwanawe, kwa maana ya siku kubwa kabisa hapa NMG, ikiwa kwamba tunaweka moja kwa moja tena Kenya mbashara kutoka London tarehe 4, ikiwa kwamba ni makala ya 40 ya mashindano ya London Marathon. Hapa sitaki niteme mengi, manake kwa heshima kubwa nimpishe afisa mkuu mtendaji wa kampuni ya National Media Group, Steven Gitagama, angalau ateme madini yake angani. Moja kwa moja, Steve, uwanjani wako.
Shukrani sana. I think NMG is very happy and very proud to announce to you that we will be delivering the London Marathon to you on 4th of October this year across our NTV platform in Kenya and NTV Uganda in Uganda, and also on nation.africa. So we'll be glad to watch our champions in Kenya. Eliud Kipchoge will be there. Kenisa Bekele will also be there. And we welcome all Kenyans and every other athlete lover to follow us on NTV and be with us as we watch our champions. Thank you very much. Let's go, let's go, Kenya. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, Kenya. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Ndo shughuli hii imepigwa mbele ya umma, sasa ndo keki katwe.
Well, that just says that right here on the 4th of October, NTV will exclusively be bringing to you the 40th edition of the London Marathon. Eliud Kipchoge versus Kenenisa Bekele, Bridget Kosgei versus Ruth Chemgetich and Vivian Cheriot, and of course, all that action on that looped course in London on the 4th of October, exclusive and live on NTV, the 40th edition of the London Marathon. And of course, I'm reminded that it will be down to the shoes. I hope you can see it, to the shoes. Of course, we've seen Eliud Kipchoge and his Nike shoes. Of course, we have Tola, I think, running for Adidas there. So people say it's about the shoe, it's not about the man, or others say it's the man, it's not the shoe. So we'll see how that unfolds in London, and all that will be happening to you live and exclusive on NTV on the 4th of October. Let's go, Kenya. Let's go. Let's go, Kenya. Let's go. Come on, say it with me wherever you are. NTV Sasa coming up after this very short break. So let's go, Kenya. Let's go.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Listen, I have information on Mom's location. Really? It's... Salvador's there.
If I were you, I'd wake up to the truth. Your husband is long gone, and he's replaced you with a woman that he truly loves.
I am Samantha Del Mundo Ojeda, and I don't back down from any fight.
Vina vegetable oil stays liquid to the last drop, so it's smooth cooking from start to finish. Now with an easy-to-pour cap. Mapishi poa, madishi poa.
People ask me, why do you risk death? For me, this is life.
I'm going to hang a high wire between the two towers of the World Trade Center and work on it.
Good luck. I was always searching, looking for the perfect place to hang my wire.
Whoa.
I'll figure out how to get the wire across.
The man is obviously crazy. Are we just here to watch him die?
One mistake out there, and you're going to die.
corona, which even we don't know which kind of an animal is this one. People are dying because of hunger.
Sasa watu wataanza kukosana, itakuwa watu waishi itakuwa wengi.
I think Kenyans as a whole, it's extremely important that they understand wildlife because this is Kenya's natural heritage.
Speaking about alternative source of livelihood apart from tourism, they got even no idea on what to do next.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Kwani hao wengine wako wapi?
Faster. Guys, I just woke up to this. Can you imagine? My babe.
My lovely Sylvie.
The Maldives is not that far from Nairobi, so it's just a matter actually of...
Did you know there's a laundry bar soap that can help save you time, water, and money? You save by not having to use multiple products. And you only rinse once. For a laundry soap that can help save you time, water, and money, try Whitewash Extra. Brand power, helping you buy better.
As we take personal responsibility and adhere to all government regulations and guidelines in relation to coronavirus, may we remember that God is faithful. He will not allow us to be pressed, crushed, and perplexed by the epidemic to a point of total destruction. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9 teaches us that we may be hard pressed on every side, but shall not be crushed. We can be persecuted, but shall not be abandoned. We can be struck down, but shall not be destroyed.
Here at NMG, we are working very hard to ensure your favorite publications, Daily Nation, Business Daily, Taifa Leo, and the East African are readily available. In a bid to support the efforts to prevent the transmission of COVID-19, NMG has ensured our staff, our distributors, and their staff adhere to set guidelines. At our printing plant, all staff are required to wash their hands before entering the factory and must be wearing a mask. All workers either change their clothes on entering the factory or wear an overcoat. We are keeping doors open to avoid our staff touching door handles repeatedly. With our automated printing, contact with the newspaper is kept to a minimum, and at the packing process, the staff observe social distancing. Vehicles used to transport the newspapers are disinfected daily before the newspapers are loaded, and our delivery staff all wear masks and wash their hands regularly. Our vendors ensure that they sanitize every time they handle money and wear their masks at all times. NMG is proud to be able to safely meet your information needs. Stay safe, stay informed with our favorite NMG publications.
This is NTV.
Naam, hujambo mtazamaji, natumai ubuheri wa afya. Karibu kwenye NTV sasa mtazamaji, lakini kabla sijaanza rasmi na kukumbusha tu kwamba awali tulikuwa tunaangazia kipindi ambacho NTV imezindua rasmi uwenyeji wa kupeperusha London Marathon. Kumbuka kwamba London Marathon itakuwa inafanyika inaanza tarehe 4 Oktoba. Nakumbuka kwamba NTV itakuletea mashindano hayo moja kwa moja. Ndio maana mtazamaji tumezindua hii leo uwenyeji wa London Marathon mtazamaji. Mbali na hayo, sasa tukiangazia kwenye NTV sasa, hii leo tunazungumzia maradhi ya kifua kikuu au kipenda TB mtazamaji, na tumekuuliza swali, je, corona imeathiri vipi matibabu ya maradhi sugu kama vile kifua kikuu? Je, corona imeathiri vipi matibabu ya maradhi sugu kama vile kifua kikuu? Wasiliana nasi @Nuru_Abdulaziz @NTV Kenya @NTV sasa, na tutaangazia baadhi ya maoni yenu mtazamaji. Nitakukumbusha kwamba hapa katika kipindi huwa nina wageni, na leo wageni wangu ni wawili ambao nitazungumza nao, nitawasiliana nao kwa kupitia njia ya Zoom. Daktari Lorraine Mugambi Nyaboga ambaye ni mtaalam wa afya ya umma, na nina Jack Ayemba ambaye ni mwathiriwa wa kifua kikuu. Karibuni sana na shukran sana kwa kuchagua kuwa nasi ili tuweze tu kuelewa haswa ni nini kuhusiana na ugonjwa au maradhi ya kifua kikuu. Nikianza tu moja kwa moja na daktari, tueleze tu ugonjwa huu ni ugonjwa upi?
Ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu ni ugonjwa ambao huletwa na bakteria ambayo husababisha maradhi kwa mapafu. Na mara nyingi wagonjwa ambao wanakuwa ugonjwa huu wa kifua kikuu huwa wanakohozi, wanatoa jasho jingi la mwili, alafu pia wanapoteza kilo, yani wanakonda, na mara nyingi huwa wana joto la mwili. Ugonjwa huu ni ugonjwa ambao unaathiri watu sana Kenya. Na Kenya ni mojawapo ya zile nchi ambazo huwa zina wagonjwa wengi zaidi ambao wako na ugonjwa huu.
Na mtazamaji, tuiradhi kutokana na tatizo hilo la sauti, tutarekebisha tu na kurejea kwa daktari. Na mgeni wangu wa pili Jack Ayemba yuko tu hapo. Na Ayemba, nikikuuliza tu, ulianza kuugua lini maradhi ya kifua kikuu?
Naweza sema ni kuwa ilikuwa December around last year. Nilianza kusikia tu ni kama kwanza zinakuja ni kama zile symptoms za malaria. Unasikia ni kama kidogo mwili uko na joto usiku. Unasikia some joint pains. Lakini vile nilianza kukohoa na haikatiki, nikajua inafaa niende nikapimwe, because hiyo ndio advice nilipata kwa watu wengi niliuliza.
Labda haukuwa na wasiwasi utapata matokeo gani utakapoenda hospitalini?
Lakini ilikuwa tricky kidogo, kwa sababu hospitali ya kwanza nilienda nilipimwa, ilikuwa sijui nitaje ama niwache. Kuna moja inajiita Wangige level 4. Nilienda nikapima, lakini matokeo yakatoka negative kwanza. Alafu nikaenda tena hospitali nyingine, hiyo sitataja juu ilikuwa private. Bado nikapima, sikupima TB. Hapo venye nilienda wakasema tu baridi, homa, nikapewa madawa zingine, nikatumia for like 1-2 days, nikaona kukohoa haipungui. Kisha nikabaki na ile option ya kuenda Mbagathi District Hospital. Na hapo ndio nilipatikana positive, lakini sikuwa na wasiwasi kwa sababu kila mtu alikuwa nyuma yangu. Watoto walikuwa supportive.
Na tangu uelezwe kwamba una maradhi ya kifua kikuu, ulielezwa labda unafaa kuchukua hatua zipi na matibabu aina gani?
Sijakupata.
Na kuuliza, tangu ugundue kwamba una maradhi ya kifua kikuu, ulichukua hatua gani au ni vipi ulielezwa kujikinga ili kuzuia maambukizi kwa watu wengine labda?
Kwanza mimi mwenyewe ni mtu wa kifamilia. Niko na watoto wawili na niko na mke. So ile advice ambayo nilipata pale Mbagathi ni kuwa au pia ilikuwa lazima wapimwe na kulingana na mimi venye najua ili nibidi kama baba kwa nyumba ilibidi nichukue hatua niwapeleke wote waende wakapimwe. Na mtoto wangu mdogo hiyo wakati alikuwa mwaka moja miezi 6. Yeye ndiye alipatikana kama alikuwa na hizo dalili za kuwa alikuwa amepata, na tukawekwa kwa matibabu mimi na yeye. Na pia ile hatua ambayo nilichukua kwa sababu mimi ni mfanyakazi kwa kampuni moja, niliamua afadhali nichukue ruhusa ya wiki kadhaa ndio angalau nisiweze kuambukizana. So, nikakaa nyumbani mpaka vile nilipata nafuu kidogo. Hiyo ni baada ya kuanza madawa, baada ya kuanza matibabu. Nikarudi kazini.
Lorraine, tueleze, awali nilikuwa nimekuuliza kuhusiana na maradhi haya. Tufafanulie tuelewe zaidi kuhusiana na maradhi ya kifua kikuu.
Okay. Nuru, unanipata sasa?
Nakusikia vizuri.
Kifua kikuu ni ugonjwa ambao huletwa na bakteria ambazo mara nyingi mapafu, na mara nyingi wagonjwa ambao wako na kifua kikuu huwa wanakohoa, wanatoa jasho jingi wanapolala, na pia huwa wanapata joto la mwili na kukonda. Ugonjwa huu ni ugonjwa ambao huathiri Wakenya wengi, na Kenya ni mojawapo ya nchi zile ambazo duniani kuna watu wengi zaidi wenye ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu. Wagonjwa ambao hupata ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu mara nyingi huambukiza ugonjwa huu kwa watu ambao kwa zaidi, kama vile watu wenye mtu huishi nao nyumbani, kama vile mgonjwa wetu Jack alivyosema, familia yake, watu ambao wanafanya kazi mara nyingi unaweza pata mgonjwa wa kikuu anaweza ambukiza wenye ambao wanafanya nao kazi. Kwa hivyo ni ugonjwa ambao unasababisha pia kifo, na mara nyingi usipotibiwa unaweza sababisha magonjwa mengine, yani kuathiri mapafu au kuenea kwa viungo vingine.
Naam, shukran sana Lorraine. Naona bado tuna tatizo la sauti hapo, lakini tutarejea kwa Lorraine. Naam, Jack, bado unaendelea na matibabu wewe pamoja na mtoto?
Saizi niko karibu kumaliza. Nimebakisha siku 2 kisha nirudi ile nini ya mwisho. Kuna ile check up ya mwisho inafaa ifanywe kwa sababu tangu nilianza matibabu February. Na mpaka saizi, lakini saizi nimebakisha siku 2 nimalize madawa. Nitakaporudi kuchukua zile za mwisho, nadhani hapo ndio mali wataniambia kama niendelee ama niko sawa, lakini zile majibu nilipata mwisho nikiendelea madawa, walisema wakiangalia zile sampuli zenye nilikuwa nimepatiana, waliona ni kama maradhi yalikuwa yanaisha kidogo, yalikuwa yanaisha.
Labda una ugumu wowote wakati huu wa maambukizi ya virusi vya corona, hasa kupata matibabu hospitalini?
Sijasikia?
Nauliza, wakati huu wa maambukizi ya COVID-19 una ugumu wowote haswa wakati wa kupata matibabu hospitalini, ama labda unahofia afya yako?
Hapana. Sioni kama kuna ugumu wote kwa sababu kampuni ambayo nafanya nalo tumekuwa tukipimwa, ni lazima, imekuwa ni nini kwa lazima tufanye hiyo test ya COVID. Na sioni ugumu wote kwa sababu ile tu kitu yenye ninahofia kwa sasa, kama mimi nilipitia hiyo, nilikuwa na TB na nikiangalia kidogo hizo symptoms zinataka kukaa sawa na zile ambazo mtu ambaye ako na COVID, tuseme kukohoa sana sana. Kuna wale wenye wako nyumbani, unapata mtu anakohoa na ile kitu ya kwanza mtu anafikiria akikusikia ukikohoa, anaona COVID. Ile kitu ambayo ningependa kuambia tu watu ni ukipata tu unakohoa kidogo usidhani ni COVID, lakini vizuri pia kwenda hospitali kuangaliwa. Hiyo tu ndio naweza sema.
Labda watu wanajihusisha vipi na wewe tangu wajue umepata maambukizi hayo kwa huo muda wote?
Wale ambao nafanya nao kazi, wengi wenye wananizunguka wanakuja kuuliza jani yangu imekuwa vipi juu. Au wenyewe wameniona nikiwa strong. Nimekuwa tu venye tu nilikuwa. Au venye waliona nilienda nilichukua ruhusa nikaenda nyumbani, au walidhania tu ni ruhusa ya kupumzika tu. Kwa sababu hawakuona ni ile saa. Kuna wachache sana ambao waligundua kwa sababu kulikuwa na lot of nili-reduce weight. Kwa uzaidi, lakini saizi nimekuja nikaongeza hapo kidogo, ndio watu wanauliza ulikuwa mgonjwa ama ni nini? Ndio uanga na share na wao, nawaambia nilikuwa na TB na saizi niko kwa the last nini za kuchukua madawa.
Hawaja kutenga labda wale ambao wanajua saizi unaendelea na matibabu?
Hapana. Hata ni wachache sana walikuwa wamejua. Saizi ndio sasa inatoka wazi. Nilikuwa na TB na nikupona, nimepona.
Na mshukran sana mtazamaji. Mwenzangu Charity Mwangi alifanya tu taarifa kuhusiana na maambukizi haya ya kifua kikuu, na tutapata taarifa hiyo tu kwa sasa.
Agnes Wairimo mwenye umri wa miaka 27 anaelekea kituo cha afya cha Loko, Nairobi. Kwa umbali ni dhahiri kwamba anajikakamua kupambana na ugonjwa hatari usio rahisi kudhibiti. Anaamini kwamba alipata kifua kikuu cha mapafu akiwa kazini.
I went to a private hospital. I was given some medicines. I took them. After another 1 week, I started coughing. Then I went to Baghdad Hospital. That's where I was told that I have the TB. Okay, I was coughing, even coughing blood. Sometimes you find that you cough, you vomit.
Hata hivyo aliendelea kwenda kazini huku akipokea matibabu. Anatangamana na wateja kwa karibu, hali inayozidisha uwezekano wa maambukizi kuzidi. Wairimo hajui iwapo aliyemwambukiza anapata matibabu, lakini kwa upande wake anawajibika.
Sigeogopa sababu lazima ningekujia dawa na nilikuwa nataka kupona. Na sikuwa nataka kupita hata siku moja kama sijakujia dawa, sijameza hizo dawa.
Hivi majuzi juhudi zote zimekuwa zikielekezwa kupambana na ugonjwa wa COVID-19. Ikizingatiwa hatari iliyopo, hofu ya kuambukizwa corona imezuia wengi kufika hospitalini.
The healthcare workers, because they are highly sensitized to COVID, they would want to test you for COVID, and we've seen some of the repercussions. For example, there are those who are anxious about being isolated and so forth.
Ni wachache wanaotafuta matibabu hospitalini, hali inayoathiri hata mpango wa kupima kifua kikuu.
The challenge with this is that if these patients, if some of them do have tuberculosis, what would happen is that transmission continues in the community.
Mwaka wa 2017 kifua kikuu kilisababisha vifo 50 kwa kila wagonjwa 100,000. Hii ina maana kuwa TB inaendelea kusababisha maafa, na hali ilivyo kwa sasa, makali ya ugonjwa huo yanaweza kuzidi, haswa kwa watu ambao wanakataa kutafuta matibabu.
The bacteria would stop responding to TB drugs and they would develop what you call drug resistance.
Dalili za TB zisizosikia dawa huwa na madhara makubwa, na matibabu yake yana athari sugu kwa mgonjwa. Hata juhudi za kupambana na korona zikiendelea, wataalamu wanapendekeza kukaguliwa zaidi kwa wagonjwa wa maradhi ya mfumo wa kupumua ili kubaini sio magonjwa hatari kama kifua kikuu. Kwa Wairimo, safari ya uponyaji inaendelea. Huku taifa ikiendelea kushughulikia janga la COVID-19, janga lingine la kiafya linaonekana kujitokeza ambalo linaweza tatuliwa kama watu watawajibika. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Na mtazamaji, tumepata tu hali ilivyo kuhusiana na maradhi hayo humu nchini, na hasa wakati huu wa virusi vya COVID-19. Na sasa tunarejea kwa Lorraine ambaye tumeshughulikia tatizo la sauti. Lorraine, unanipata? Sasa tukiangazia nani hasa wanaathirika na maradhi haya ya kifua kikuu.
Kifua kikuu ni ugonjwa ambao unaweza athiri yoyote, na mara nyingi huwa ni mtu yoyote ambaye amehusiana na mgonjwa ambaye ana kifua kikuu, na wakati mgonjwa huu ambaye anaugua kifua kikuu akikohoa ama akipiga chafya ama akicheka ama kuongea, zile bakteria ambazo zasababisha ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu, mtu yoyote akipumua hizi bakteria anaweza pata ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu. Ni wale ambao labda wako na kinga ambayo iko duni kwa mwili wao, kama vile yani immunity ikipungua ama kinga ya mwili ikipunguka, wagonjwa hao ndio huanza kupata dalili zile za kifua kikuu kama vile kukohoa, kutoa jasho jingi, kupoteza kilo na pia kupata joto la mwili. Kwa hivyo kifua kikuu ni ugonjwa ambao unaweza athiri mtu yoyote, bora tu umehusiana kwa karibu na mtu ambaye anaugua ugonjwa huu wa kifua kikuu.
Na wale ambao wanaugua maradhi ya kifua kikuu au TB ukipenda, watajikinga vipi na kuwakinga wenzao? Wanatumia njia zipi?
Ukiangalia kinga ambazo tunatumia dhidi ya ugonjwa huu wa kifua kikuu, kwanza kabisa ni kuhakikisha kwamba kama ni watoto ambao wana uhusiano zaidi na mgonjwa ambaye ana kifua kikuu, ni muhimu wapelekwe hospitali au kituo cha afya. Na daktari mara nyingi huwapatia dawa ambazo zinakinga ugonjwa huu. Pia kuna chanjo ambayo huwa tunapatia watoto wanapozaliwa, chanjo la BCG ambayo hupatiwa kwa watoto wote ambao huzaliwa. Kitu cha tatu na muhimu zaidi ni kuhakikisha kwamba kama mgonjwa ama kuna wagonjwa ambao wana ugonjwa huu wa kifua kikuu, ni kuhakikisha kwamba hawana uhusiano wa karibu na watu wengine, kwa sababu ugonjwa huu huenea huenea rahisi in the air. Ndio.
Na kuna wale ambao hawapati matibabu. Inakuwaje kwa watu kama hao? Labda hawataki tu kwa sababu ya wakati huu wa maambukizi ya COVID-19 kwenda kuendelea na matibabu au kupata kupimwa kuhusiana na maradhi haya.
Kama tunavyoona wakati huu, kwa sababu ya janga hili la COVID-19, wagonjwa wengi wanaogopa kuenda kwa vituo. Wanaona ni kama wakienda kwa vituo vya afya na uwezekano kwamba wanaweza ambukizwa ugonjwa huu wa corona. Lakini tena tunaposema sahihi ni kwamba ukiwa na dalili zozote kama vile kukohoa, kutoa jasho, joto la mwili ama kupungukiwa na kilo, ni muhimu uende kwa kituo cha afya na useme kwamba useme venye unavyosikia ama dalili zile uko nazo, ili wahudumu wa afya waweze kukupima ugonjwa huu wa kifua kikuu. Kitu cha pili tunachoona wakati huu ni kwamba wagonjwa wengi ambao wanatumia dawa zao za ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu, wengi wao hawarudi vituo hivi vya afya kwa sababu ya kuamini kwamba corona inaendelea kuenea kwa vituo vya afya. Na kwa wagonjwa kama hawa tunawaambia kwamba ni muhimu waendelee na dawa zao za kifua kikuu, kwa sababu usipomaliza ama kutumia dawa zako vilivyo, na dawa hizi huwa tunapatia wagonjwa kwa muda wa miezi 6, mara nyingi ugonjwa huendelea kuenea. Nambari ya pili, ugonjwa pia huendelea kudhuru mapafu na viungo vingine vya mwili. Na kitu cha tatu ni kwamba unaweza pata kifua kikuu sugu, yani multi drug resistant TB, ambayo ni kifua kikuu ambayo huwa haisikii madawa yale huwa tunatumia mara nyingi tukitibu ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu sana, ingawa kama vile umepimwa na ukaambiwa kwamba uko na ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu, ni muhimu utumie dawa zako kama ulivyoelezewa na wahudumu wa afya. Umalize dawa zako kwa hiyo miezi 6, ili usije ukaendelea kueneza ugonjwa huu ama ugonjwa ukaendelea kuongeza madhara kwa mwili.
Nifafanulie tu zaidi kuhusiana na kifua kikuu sugu, haswa kifua kikuu ambayo haisikii dawa. Inakuwaje kwa mgonjwa?
Kifua kikuu sugu mara nyingi husababishwa wakati wagonjwa wa kifua kikuu wameshindwa kumaliza dawa zao, na zile bakteria ambazo huwa zinasababisha kifua kikuu zinaendelea kubadilika na kuto respond, yani hutoliwa na zile dawa huwa tunatumia wakati tunatibu kifua kikuu. Kwa hivyo kifua kikuu sugu mara nyingi huleta dalili kama zile za kifua kikuu, lakini mara nyingi hata ukipatia mgonjwa madawa yale huwa tunakupatia kwa miezi 6, wagonjwa hawapati nafuu, na mara nyingi madhara huwa yanaendelea kuwa mabaya zaidi, kama vile unapokohoa unatoa kohozi ambalo liko na damu, ama unashindwa kupumua zaidi, ama zaidi ya hapo hauendelei kupata nafuu wakati unatumia dawa zile za kawaida za kifua kikuu. Ugonjwa huu hutibiwa kwa muda mrefu zaidi. Wagonjwa wa kifua kikuu sugu huwa tunapatia madawa kwa muda wa mwaka mzima, na mara nyingine wengine hupewa hata zaidi ya mwaka mzima, kwa sababu ugonjwa huu hauponi haraka kama kifua kikuu cha kawaida. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu zaidi kujikinga na kifua kikuu sugu kwa kuhakikisha kama umepatikana kwamba uko na kifua kikuu, hakikisha umetumia dawa zako vilivyo, kwamba hautumii dawa na kuacha, na kwa sababu mara nyingi unapotibiwa kifua kikuu, wagonjwa huanza kupata nafuu baada ya wiki kadhaa, kama vile wiki 3, wiki 4 hivi. Na wengi wa hawa wagonjwa huacha kutumia dawa zao. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu kuwakumbusha kwamba ni muhimu umalize dawa zako kwa zile miezi 6 zote ulioagizwa na mhudumu wa afya, hata kama umeanza kusikia nafuu, ili usije ukapata kifua kikuu sugu.
Na tukimalizia tu, Jack, una maoni gani au utawashauri vipi wale wagonjwa ambao kwa sasa wanahofia kwenda kupata matibabu au kupimwa TB?
Kidogo sijakusikia, tafadhali rudia.
Una maoni gani au labda ushauri tu kwa wale wagonjwa ambao kwa sasa wanahofia kwenda kupimwa au kupata matibabu au kuendeleza tu matibabu yao ya TB?
Kile ambacho naweza waambia ni kuwa sisi kama binadamu ndio tuweze kuona kesho, ama kuona wale ambao tunawapenda kesho na kesho kutwa na baadaye. Mtu anafaa kuwa na discipline. Kama mimi nilivyokuwa venye nilijua siku ya kwanza niko positive na nikapewa madawa, ile tu daktari aliniambia ni kuwa nihakikishe kuwa kabla nichukue dawa nimekula vizuri, na ile saa ambayo nitaanza kuchukua hiyo dawa nikuwe nikichukua hiyo saa kwa hiyo wakati. So ile kitu kwanza nilifanya ni kuweka alarm kila wakati, ilikuwa inanijulisha lazima ama ambapo ninapoenda safari nilikuwa lazima nibebe. Ni tu discipline. Ndio usiweze kuacha, kwa sababu maisha ni muhimu. Ukiangalia maisha ni muhimu. So kile ambacho ndawaambia tu ni kuwa na self discipline na kuchukua madawa jinsi inavyofaa, na kisha hiyo ingine tunamwachia Mola.
Naam, shukran sana Jack Ayemba ambaye ni mwathiriwa wa kifua kikuu. Shukran sana Daktari Lorraine Mugambi ambaye ni mtaalam wa afya ya umma. Mtazamaji, shukran sana kwa kutazama. Kwa wote waliofanikisha NTV Sasa, shukran sana. Naitwa Nuru Abdulaziz. Baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu utapata habari zetu kwa lugha ya Kimombo saa 7 kamili. Usiende mbali.